Good morning, everyone. Can you hear my voice? Please give me reply. Am I audible to everyone? Please give me reply. Good morning, everyone. Okay, thanks, Ramesh. Thanks for your reply. Let me share the screen and tell me can you see the screen or not? Okay, now tell me can you see the screen? Please give me reply. Okay, Rachana, thanks for your reply. Can you see the screen, Rachana and Ramyasri? Pawan Kumar Reddy, Sri Charan. Can you see the screen? Please give me reply. If you see the screen, please give me reply. Is the screen visible for all of you? Is the screen visible for all of you? Please give me reply. Is the screen visible for all of you? Okay. Thanks. So I think there is some network issue either from your side or from my side. That's why the message that you are giving it to me getting slower. I think so because of internet connectivity. So let me see how many students have entered the class. So I can see only 14 students have entered the class. Audio is low. Now tell me, can you hear my voice? Uh, mm, Let me increase the sound of my. So my system has. Okay, now it's clear. Okay, thanks, Tejasvi. So thanks, Tejasvi. Let me see how many participants have entered. Okay, I can see only 18 students have entered, but the time is 10 o'clock. Exactly at 10 a.m. I will take the attendance because when I am taking the attendance at the end of my class, many students, not only from your section, I am not pointing your section only, from other section also, they are entering the class after 10:30. So that's why I want to take the attendance exactly at 10:10 a.m. Now, as the time is 10 o'clock, let me start my class, hoping that the screen and audio both are clear for you. So, the topic for our today's discussion in this class is SAG. Okay, this is the topic which we will discuss today, and we will also have some mathematical calculations which are required to find the sag and tension in the transmission line. Okay, so first of all, before understanding sag, it is just a definition. So before understanding sag, let us understand the features or the characteristics of a wire connected in between two supports, connected in between two supporting towers, or connected in between two supports. Okay, so here wire is nothing but it is electrical power transmission line, and supports are nothing but supporting towers. Okay, you have different types of supporting towers which are made with reinforced concrete cement, or you have also steel poles, and you also have lattice poles with higher span length. Okay, so lattice poles. So there are different types of supporting towers that we can use depending upon the voltage level. And here the wire is nothing but a transmission line. The meaning of wire is nothing but a transmission line. Okay, so in this class, before understanding the definition of sag, first we need to know how a wire will behave when it is connected in between two supports, right? So when, let me write it in the form of a single sentence. When a flexible wire is hung when a flexible wire is hung in between two supports is hung in between two supports separated by some distance, which we call generally as a span length. Okay, so when a flexible wire is hung in between two supports, it forms a catenary. It forms a catenary. Okay, so here, what is meant by a catenary? Catenary is nothing but the shape of a curve in mathematics. Shape of a curve which looks like which is formed by a wire. A shape of a curve which is formed with the help of a wire, by a wire or a chain connected in between two ends. Okay. So catenary is a mathematical term. It is the shape of a curve uh, when it is connected in between two supporting towers or two ends. Okay. So this is one end and this is another end. When you connect a wire or a chain, flexible chain, okay, when I connect a wire transmission line or a wire or a chain in between two supports, this wire forms a shape. Okay, it get a shape. That shape is called as catenary. Now, what is the meaning for that? When a flexible wire is hung in between two supporting towers or two supports, it forms a shape, and that shape is called as a catenary shape, which is very important for your competitive examinations, right? And now we will see what is the what are the features of this catenary shaped wire. Features of this catenary shaped wire. Okay, so in order to understand the features of catenary shaped wire, let me consider these two as the supporting towers. Okay, so let us understand this mathematical analysis before understanding the definition of sag. Okay, mathematical analysis. In order to do the mathematical analysis related to catenary curve, related to catenary curve. In order to understand the mathematical analysis related to catenary curve, I am considering two supporting towers. So this is one supporting tower A. Consider this as the supporting tower A and this as the supporting tower B. Okay. For time being, I am assuming that these two supporting towers are of equal height, and this is the ground. This is the ground on which these supporting towers are installed, and in between these two supporting towers, you have connected a flexible wire and it forms a catenary shape. So the catenary shape of this flexible wire is like this. Okay, so this is the catenary shape, right? Let me draw it more neatly. So this is the catenary shape of a wire which is connected in between the two supporting towers. Now this is the axis from which we can find the vertical length or as well as horizontal length, and I am assuming this as the origin which is at the center for this axis, and this point I am assuming as H. Considering the length of the lowest point of the wire, what is this? Let me write H. What is meant by H? H is nothing but the lowest point of wire or transmission line, and the distance from the origin or the height of the lowest point above the origin, I am assuming it as C. Okay, please keep in mind all these mm, symbols or all these letters, so that they will be useful for further analysis. Okay, I am using these things. So C is height of the lowest point, height of the lowest point above origin, height of the lowest point above origin. And when a wire is flexibly hung in between these two supporting towers, you have some tension. Okay, so let me write like this. When a wire is connected in between the supports, there will be some tension on the wire. Wire is connected in between the supports, in between the supports, there will be some tension. Tension is nothing but simply it is one form of force experienced by the conductor or wire. There will be a tension on wire, tension on the wire. Let us assume that at the lowest point, the horizontal tension is represented like this. So I am assuming that the tension is T naught. T naught is nothing but horizontal tension. T naught is nothing but horizontal tension. And considering this wire which is connected in between the supports as a wire which has uniform cross section, so that the weight per unit length will be same, hence I am assuming W as the weight per unit length, the weight per unit length of this uniform wire. Now, what is the relation between this horizontal tension and weight? It is just another force. Weight is one force and tension is another force. Weight depends upon at which height the point exists. Here, the point H is assumed to be at a height of C above the origin, and this is the tension at this point. So, the relation between tension and weight is W into C. Okay, so C is nothing but vertical height, W is the weight per unit length, and by multiplying these two you will get tension, which is horizontal tension. Now what I want to do is I want to do how the uh, means how to find the length of this conductor. See, considering that the span length, which is the distance between the supports, I am assuming L as the distance between the supports. L is nothing but small l. L is nothing but the distance between the supports. And it is also called as span length. It is also called as span length. Now, what I am trying to do is I am trying to find how the length of the line, because see here the span length is represented with small l, whereas I am assuming that the length of the wire is represented with capital L. Okay, So L is nothing but length of wire. The length of, see, the span length is always different from length of wire. You know this already. Usually, the distance between the supports is not equal to the length of the wire because we are hanging it in a flexible manner, so that always the length of the wire will be greater than the span length. The span length is represented with the small l, whereas the length of the wire is represented with capital L. So this length of the wire is changing when we move from the lowest point to another side. Okay, so it is not a constant, means it is not varying in a linear fashion. When we move for a distance of 1 meter, the length is 1 meter. When you move for a distance of 2 meters, the length of the wire will be 2 meters. In that, if you have the length like that, we can say the length of the wire is varying linearly when we move from the lowest point to one side of the supporting tower. But it is not actually happening. This length is not, this length of the wire from this point to this point is not changing in a linear manner. So we need to know how it is changing with respect to uh, distance from this lowest point. Okay, so what are the things which we are going to find here? First thing which we need to know here is how is the length of the wire is varying. Length of the wire variation. How is the length of the wire varying with respect to variation in x, because I am assuming x as the horizontal movement and y as the vertical movement. So when I increasing x, when I increase the value of x from this lowest point, because here I am assuming x as 0, when I am increasing x value, how is the length of wire varying? This is the one thing which we want to find from this mathematical analysis. And the second thing is that how is the vertical distance from this, means when you move from here to here, the vertical distance from the lowest point to this point is one thing, and from this point to this point is another thing, from this point to this point is another thing. So how is the uh, vertical length is varying. Vertical length variation uh, again with respect to variation in x, with respect to variation in x. These two are the things which we will find from this mathematical analysis related to catenary curve, and from that we can evaluate the sag and tension. Okay, so this is the thing which we will do in this class. Now, considering a point, any point along this line, and assuming this point has x coordinate of x and y coordinate y. So this is the x coordinate and this is y coordinate of this point with respect to origin, and I am assuming this small length as s. Okay, so this small length I am assuming as s. Now, at equilibrium condition, you will have two different forces acting on this small wire of length s, small portion of length s. What are the two forces? One is the force which acts in a downward direction. If the length is if the length of the wire is s, what is the force which acts along downward direction? It is ws. In addition to that, you also have one more force which is the horizontal tension, and it acts in horizontal direction, T naught, and you have a resultant tension like this. Okay. You have two forces, one is the vertical force and another one is horizontal force. Vertical force is in vertically downward direction, and you have horizontal tension also which is in x direction, and the resultant tension will is subtending an angle of psi with respect to T naught, I am assuming. So let me draw this figure for your better understanding. Here you have a small length of the wire S out of the total length. This is the total length of the wire S. You have two forces basically. One is the vertical force due to gravitation, so it is a Ws, and you have horizontal tension, it is a T naught, and the resultant of these two is a T, because it is subtending an angle of psi with respect to horizontal tension T naught. Okay, let me write here. This small section of the wire, small section of wire S is experiencing two forces, is experiencing two forces, is experiencing two forces. One is weight acting vertically downwards, weight acting vertically downwards, and horizontal tension, T naught, and the resultant force is T. Resultant force or resultant tension is T. Now, from this diagram, how can I write T naught? I can write T naught as, see why I am considering resultant in this direction instead of in this direction. You see here you have the supporting tower. Okay, because of this supporting tower you are getting some tension. So it is towards the supporting tower, not in this direction. That's why I have taken T here. And the horizontal tension T naught in terms of the resultant tension is given by T times cos psi. Is it right or not? So how can I write T naught now? T naught can be written as T cos psi. And what is weight acting vertically downwards? What is T cos psi actually? T cos psi is nothing but Wc, because we have seen T naught value as Wc, which is the product of weight per unit length multiplied with C. So there is no much difference between T naught from here to here. That's why I am considering T naught as it is. So T naught is equal to T cos psi, which is W into C, and uh, what is the vertical component? This is the horizontal component of T, horizontal component of T. And what is the vertical component? Vertical component is the T sin psi. Vertical component is the T sin psi. So vertical component is like this. So this is the horizontal component and this is the vertical component, and it is parallel to Ws. So vertical component T sin psi is equal to Ws. Is it right? So considering this as the first equation and considering this as the second equation, T cos psi is equal to Wc, T sin psi is equal to Ws. Now dividing the second equation with first equation, you will get T sin psi by T cos psi. T sin psi by T cos psi, and it is equal to Ws by Wc. So T gets cancelled. Sin psi by cos psi is tan psi. It is equal to W gets cancelled. Tan psi is equal to S by C. Now, what is the tan psi actually? If you observe, this is the small length of wire S. Okay, so if I draw like this again for your better understanding, so this is the small length S, right? And you have one weight WS like this, and you have horizontal tension like this. Now, what is this variation? See, if you find the angle, if you find the tan of this angle, what does it indicates? You are drawing a tangent, right? So tangent always gives you slope of this curve. What is the slope? Slope can be written as dy by dx. So in place of tan psi, what I can write? S by c. Tan psi is equal to S by C, and it is also equal to dy by dx, because tangent of the angle psi will gives us means tan of the angle psi will is nothing but the slope of the tangent. What is the slope? Slope is dy by dx. Dy by dx is slope. So tan psi is equal to dy by dx is equal to S by C. S by C. Now, what is ds? If it is dx, and if you see, if you consider a small length here and here, so like this, it is dy, and it is dx, and what is this? This is a ds, a small variation in s. So the small variation in s can be written as ds is equal to dy square plus dx square. Is it right or not? Now, according to Pythagoras theorem, if you have a triangle, right angle triangle with horizontal length as dx and vertical length as dy, you will have the hypotenuse as root of horizontal component square plus vertical component square. Is it right or not? Now, in place of ds, I can write root of dy square plus dx square. Um, Taking dx as common, if you consider dx as common, if you bring dx out of the root, it will become dx, and it is 1 plus dy by dx whole square. This is ds value. What is meant by ds here? A small change in the length s. This is ds. And what is dx? Dx is a small movement along x direction. Dy is a small movement in along y direction. Now, in place of dy by dx, what we have? S by c, and it is equal to dx into 1 plus s by c whole square. This is ds value. Bringing c out of the root, you will get dx by c, because you have c square here. If you bring it out of the root, it becomes c, and here you have s square plus c square. This is ds. Now, what is dx from this? Dx is nothing but c into ds total divided with s square plus c square. In order to understand the variation of s with respect to x, in order to understand, in order to know the variation of, now tell me what is the s here. Firstly, in the first slide I have given one thing. What is our goal? Our goal is to find the variation of length of wire with respect to variation of x. Here, what is the length of that small portion of wire? S. And what is uh, horizontal component? X. So in order to know the variation of s with respect to variation of x, and considering s as c sine h theta. Okay, I am assuming s as c sine h theta, so that ds will become C cos h theta d theta. C cos h theta d theta. Now substituting these two here, you will have dx as c into, in place of ds you have c cos h theta, so c cos h theta d theta total divided with root of what is s square. S square is c sin h theta whole square plus c square. Now you have c square in the numerator, c square cos h theta d theta total divided with you have c square as the first term and c square in the second term. When you take it out of the root, it will become c, and 1 plus sin h square theta. Now what is 1 plus sin h square theta? 1 plus sin h square theta is cos h square theta. Under the root will gives you cos h theta. So you have c square cos h theta d theta in the numerator and c cos h theta in the denominator. So cos h theta gets cancelled, c and 1c gets cancelled. Now you got dx is equal to c d theta. Now you got dx is equal to c d theta. Integrating this equation on both sides, integrating this equation on both sides. Now integration of dx is x, integration of c d theta is c into theta plus some constant. I am assuming that constant as k1. Now substituting the boundary conditions of x and theta, you will get k1 here. At x is equal to 0, if you see the diagram clearly, first diagram clearly, you can understand that. So from here to here the x is varying. At x is equal to 0, you will be at the lowest point here. And at x is equal to 0, what is s value? Okay, what is s value? Because here theta depends upon s and c values, right? How can I write theta from here? Theta can be written as sine h inverse of, if you send c to denominator, it will become s by c. So theta is equal to sine h inverse of s by c. Now at x is equal to 0, you will be at this point. Now what is s value? S value is 0 because it is the distance from the lowest point to any point p. It is a small length which is taken from the lowest point to any point p. Now at x is equal to 0, the s value becomes 0. When s value becomes 0, in this equation, theta value also becomes 0. Let me write here, at x is equal to 0, theta is also equal to 0. Hence, k1 is equal to 0. From this, what we can say, x is nothing but c theta. X is nothing but c theta, or theta is equal to x by c. Theta is equal to x by c. Now what we have assumed? We have assumed s as c sin h theta. Substituting this theta here, yes, we have assumed as c sin h theta. In place of theta, you can substitute x by c. Now s is equal to c sin h of x by c. So this is this equation gives us the variation of the length of wire with respect to x, because s is nothing but the length of the wire from the lowest point If you know this length, you can automatically find the total length of the wire. Is it right or not? Let me write this with a separate color. So this gives us okay, this equation, let me write here for your better understanding. This equation gives us the variation of length of wire, the variation of length of wire with respect to variation of x. Is it right or not? So this equation gives us the variation of length of wire with respect to x. And what is the second goal for us? The second goal for us is to find the variation of vertical distance, vertical length. What is the vertical length between each point and the lowest point when we move in positive x direction? In order to understand that, we need to understand the variation of y with respect to x. Is it right or not? Now, here if you observe, from where I can get this, from where I can get this, ds is c cos h theta d theta dy mm, dy. From where you can get the vertical distance by using uh, ds or okay, s is equal to c sine of hx by c, and dy is equal to dx into s by c. But what is dx? Dx is nothing but c d theta. So dx into s by c. We know this already. See here, what is dy by dx? Dy by dx is s by c. Now dy is equal to dx into s by c. Dy is equal to dx into s by c. What is dx? Dx is c d theta. We have found this already, multiplied with s by c. So c gets cancelled. Now dy is equal to s d theta. Dy is equal to s d theta. Now what is y? Let me write again. Integrating this equation, integrating this equation on both sides, integrating this equation on both sides. Now dy is converted into y, s d theta is converted into s theta. You have one constant k2. Now at y is equal to 0, see where you can have y is equal to 0. At y is equal to 0, s will also become 0, because see here, s is equal to c sine h theta, right? uh, okay, so already we got theta in terms of x, right? mm, Let me check this. Please wait for 1 minute. Please wait for 1 or 2 minutes, so that Please give me some time so that I can go through that where we made a mistake. Okay, S is equal to dy by dx value. What is dy by dx value? S by C, right? Okay. Okay, let me erase this. Sorry for the inconvenience. Here I don't need theta again because I got the theta value already. So here also I can write dy by dx as, when you recall what we have written, the dy by dx value as, what we have written dy by dx, very simply I can write s by c. So s by c, but I need to substitute the value of s we have assumed. So value of s we have assumed as sorry, s we got here as c sine h of x by c. Is it right? We got s value just now. It is a c sine h of x by c. Substituting that value here, dividing that with the c, so that dy by dx is like this. Cancelling c and c here, you will get dy by dx as c sine h of x by c. C sine h of x by, sorry, you don't have c here also. So let me erase this. Now you got dy by dx as sine h of x by c. Okay. Now integrate this on both sides, or I can write dy as sine h of x by c multiplied with dx. Now integrate this equation on both sides. Integrate this equation. Integrate this equation on both sides. Integration of dy is y, and integration of sine h of x by c is cos h of x by c by 1 by c. By 1 by c will become c multiplied with c, and plus b. Okay, or considering the constant as k2, I am considering k2 as constant. Now again at x is equal to 0, at x is equal to 0, what is y value? See here, see the diagram. So at x is equal to 0, you will be at this point. What is y value? Y value is c. Is it right or not? At at x is equal to some distance, the y value may be different, but exactly at x is equal to 0, y value is the vertical distance, which is c. Now substituting y value as c here, at x is equal to 0, y value is c, and substituting x as 0 here, cos h of 0 is again 1. Cos h of 0 is 1. Now substituting c in place of y, and here you have c multiplied with 1 plus k2. Now k2 is nothing but c minus c, which is 0 again. K2 is also 0. If k2 is equal to 0, if k2 is equal to 0, y becomes c cos h of x by c. Okay, so this is another equation which can be, which we got because of second goal. What is our second goal of this discussion? First goal is to obtain the variation of length of the wire with respect to variation in x, and the second goal is to obtain the vertical length variation with respect to variation in x. When you are here, what is the vertical length? from the vertical length from this point to this point is 0 when you are here. Now when you are here, the vertical distance will increase. When you are here, the vertical distance will still increase, like that, right? So let me write it. What this equation gives us. So this equation gives us the variation of vertical length, the variation of vertical distance or vertical length from supporting point to, from any arbitrary point to the lowest point, from any point on the wire to the lowest point, to the lowest point. Okay, with respect to x, with respect to x. Okay, uh, so this is about these two equations. Let me write these two equations separately. Now s is equal to c into sine h of x by c, and y is equal to c cos h of x by c. Now considering this equation as 3 and this equation as 4, expanding these two equations, expanding these two equations, we can obtain sine h of theta can be written as theta plus theta cube by, let me write the expansions. Sin h theta can be written as theta plus theta cube by 3 factorial plus theta power 5 by 5 factorial plus and so on. Similarly, cos h theta can be written as 1 plus theta square by 2 factorial plus theta power 4 by 4 factorial plus and so on. These are the expansions of sin h theta and cos h theta, but in place of theta what we have? X by c. Now writing s here and c here, expanding sin h of x by c. First value is theta. Theta means x by c, plus second value is theta cube. Theta cube means x cube by c cube. So x cube by c cube multiplied with 3 factorial. 3 factorial plus theta power 5. Theta power 5 means x power 5 by c power 5, 5 factorial plus and so on, right? So we can neglect the higher order terms and we can consider only up to 2 terms, because when you go on increasing, the power in the denominator gets increased. C, what is the C? C is actually height of the lowest point, height of the lowest point above the ground, height of the lowest point above the ground, above the origin, not ground, above the origin. Okay, so this is where many students will do mistake. They will consider this as the height of the lowest point above ground, but it is not above ground, it is above the origin. Okay, so the c value will be like 10 meters, like that. When you take 10 power 5 in the denominator, it will be a very lesser value. That's why I can neglect higher order terms. Okay, so neglecting higher order terms, neglecting the higher order terms, considering only first two terms, now s becomes uh, c into x by c plus c x cube by c cube into 3 factorial. It is approximately equal to. That implies that S is equal to C gets cancelled, one C and another C gets cancelled. It will become X plus, right, X cube by uh, C square into 6, or let me write like this, 6C square. So this is the value of X, sorry, value of S, which gives us the length of the line, which gives us the length of the line in terms of uh, x with respect to x. Similarly, substituting this expansion in this equation, you will have y is equal to c. I am writing as it is. First term is 1, so I am writing 1, and the second term is theta square. So theta square is x square by c square into 2 factorial plus theta power 4 means x power 4 by c power 4 into 4 factorial plus and so on. Again here I am neglecting higher order terms, neglecting higher order terms. After neglecting the higher order terms, you will get y is equal to c plus, right, c into x square by c square into 2. Now c and 1c gets cancelled. Now y is equal to c plus x square by 2c. This is the value of y, okay, which gives us the vertical height of any point above the above the origin, right? Now from the first, consider this equation as the fifth equation and consider this equation as the sixth equation. So these are the final end values of s and y which we will get. So s is equal to x plus x cube by 6c square, and y is equal to c plus uh, x square by 2c, c plus x square by 2c. So this is the fifth equation and this is the sixth equation. Now we will see the sag and tension calculations. First we will see sag. The definition of sag, please remember it carefully. Please listen it carefully. It may be useful for your examination also. So it is the vertical distance. Sag is the vertical distance from any point on the wire, from any point on the wire to the lowest point. Okay, it is the vertical distance from any point on the wire to the lowest point. If you observe the diagram, okay, let me draw the diagram itself here, diagram here itself, a simple diagram, not the exact figure, just the thing up to which we require. So this is the wire which is hung in between the two supports. This is one support here and this is another support here, and this is the lowest point, is it right? And we call this as H. And considering any point along the line, let us understand the coordinates of this point is x and y. It indicates that the x is the horizontal distance from the lowest point to this point, and y is the vertical distance from the origin to this point. Is it right? Okay, let me write what is x and y indicates here. X is nothing but horizontal distance. X is nothing but horizontal distance uh, from H to P. From H to P, X is nothing but the horizontal distance. What is Y? Y is the vertical distance y is the vertical distance from O to P. O means origin. So this is the origin. Uh, if you want to find the vertical distance from the axis to point P, okay. Uh, if you want to be specific, from the horizontal axis, so this is the horizontal axis to the point P, okay. So y gives us the vertical distance of the point P the axis above the axis. Now, as the sag is the vertical distance from any point on the wire to the lowest point, which equation we need to use in order to find the sag? We need to use equation 6, because equation 6 gives us the variation of the vertical distance with respect to x. As sag is defined as the vertical distance from any point on the wire to the lowest point, I need to use this equation in order to find the sag. Now tell me, what is the sag here? If I want to find the sag here, so sag at point x comma y, at point P which has the coordinates of x comma y. What is the sag at this point? I am calling the sag with a distance with a letter D here. I use the same letter for every case for further discussion. I use the same letter for further discussion. So the sag is represented with the letter D here. Now what is the D? This is the D. This is a D, right? Because it is the vertical distance from any particular point to the lowest point. This is D. Now what is this total distance? The total distance is y. And what is this total distance? C. So it is y c. Now what is this distance? It is nothing but y minus c. So the sag here is equal to y minus c. Now from equation 6, what is y minus c? From equation 6, d is equal to y minus c is equal to x square by 2c. So if you know the horizontal distance of that point from the lowest point, you can find d easily. So the sag formula is x square by 2c. If you know the horizontal distance of any particular point P from the lowest point, by substituting that horizontal distance here and C here, you will get the sag. Okay. Now what is the maximum sag possible? Maximum sag possible depends upon the length from the lowest point to the supporting tower. As we have assumed that the length in between the two supporting towers as L, the distance from the lowest point to one of the supporting tower I am assuming as L by 2. Okay. Now maximum sag is obtained. Maximum sag is obtained or maximum sag can be found. Maximum possible sag can be found. Let me write like this. Maximum possible sag can be found. Maximum possible sag can be found at x is equal to, what is x value? From lowest point to the supporting tower, maximum value of x is L by 2. Total is L, half is L by 2. So x is equal to L by 2. Okay. So maximum sag can be found at x is equal to L by 2. Now what is the d value at x is equal to L by 2? It is L by 2 whole square, which is L square by 4. So L square by 4, already you have 2 in the denominator, 4 into 2 becomes 8. So D is equal to L square by 8C. So this is the maximum sag of a transmission line. If L, if you know the span length and if you know the height of the lowest point above origin, you can find the sag by using this equation. Otherwise, if you know only the horizontal distance from that lowest point, you don't know the span length, you can find the sag by using this equation. Okay, so this is the generalized equation which will be useful for further analysis. So the sag d is given by either x square by 2c, which is a variable one. For a fixed one, the maximum possible sag is L square by 8. Now what is this? This is this distance. From the lowest point to the points of support. This is the maximum sag. Okay. So this is about the sag calculation and sag definition, which is a vertical distance from any point on the y to the lowest point, which are obtained by considering the mathematical analysis related to the catenary shaped curve. What is meant by a catenary shape? It is a mathematical term which is used to define the shape of a wire or chain hung between two supporting towers. Okay. I hope it is clear for all of you. So in the next class, we will find the tension and we will find the length of the wire in terms of span length. Okay. So I want to stop here because the time is 11. Is it clear for all of you? Please give me reply. Is it clear? Now it's clear, sir. Okay. Thanks, Tejaswini. Thanks for your reply. So all of you, please stay in the class. I will take the attendance because I forgot to download the attendance. Okay, so your attendance has been downloaded. So thanks for your patience, and we'll meet with the the new topic in the next class. Okay, okay. Thanks, Sai Surya Teja. Okay, thanks, and bye everyone.